Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Xanassin Trophy for Race 3 at the Alsace village. It's an interesting, technical, tricky track. Let's see who is going to succeed here. Before we do though, quick look at the current championship standings. Demon R leading the way, 34 points ahead of Dave the Harp and Mandalorian tied second. SGP in 4th, Tyler 5th, Twilight 6th, Steve F1 7th, and then Mitch and Jason tied for 8th, and then Bunsley in 10th, Fluffy Planet in 11th, Rich Blues 12th, Groover 13th, Formula Gary and SRI tied for 14th, Conrad and Jimmy tied for 16th. Okay, let's have a look at how qualifying turned out, and taking his very first pole position in the DGT League, I believe, is Mitch, with a bit of a surprise, sneaking through to take the pole just ahead of Steve F1 and the qualifying favourite SGP, who's going to start on row 2 alongside Demon R. Jason's going to start on row 3 with Tyler next to him, and then right behind them is Mandalorian and Dave the Harp. Twilight's going to start on row 5 alongside Formula Gary, and they are just ahead of Fluffy Planet and Bunsel. On row 7 we've got Rich Blues and Jimmy, and unfortunately we did have Conrad join us but was disconnected during qualifying, so couldn't race. Okay, let's head over to the commentary team for all of today's action. And joining me on commentary today is Ray. How are you, Ray? You awake enough?
Yeah, I'm awake enough. I'm happy.
Good.
How are you?
I'm fine. I hope the drivers are ready. So here we go then, the drivers are ready for Alsace Village. Mitch, a surprise pole sitter ahead of Steve F1 as we wait for the lights to go out, and away they go, and it looks like a decent start from Mitch. Steve F1, he's coming under pressure though from Demon R and SGP, trying to go all the way around the outside, Ray.
Yeah. Steve F1 wants to be at the front gear and try and put up a good gap. Sorry.
But Demon R, he's coming under pressure from Tyler. He's fending him off just about, but now he's having a look on the inside of Steve F1. Steve F1 spots him coming. He's now run wide. Demon R's going for second place now, all the way around the outside of SGP. He's not going to be able to do that. He's going to have to tuck him behind.
Yeah, that was good side-by-side driving there as we come down into, don't know what corner it is. It's going to have a look.
It's a horrible corner is what it is, right?
Yeah, they're all, is it going to go side-by-side with Steve F1?
He's trying. Steve F1's coming back up the inside though. Oh, and here comes Tyler as well. Oh, this is getting feisty. Things Alsace Village, Ray, as you may know, this long right-hander, the banked corner is a brilliant corner. But you know what, I think Demon R's just messed it up. Yes, he has. He's gone wide, and Steve F1's nearly lost it. And now Fluffy. Oh, Fluffy's into the barrier.
Oh, that was close. That could have been carnage there.
It absolutely could have been. Now Steve F1 coming under pressure from Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp is a race winner in this championship. Can you believe it?
Is it?
He is, yes. He won the first race. Okay, what we got now? So, yeah, Mitch still leading the way. Oh, Mandalorian going deep.
Yeah, I thought he was going to take a wee touch of Jason out there, but no, he saved it.
That he has. For anyone wondering, it's been a while since Ray has done commentary on a race, so give him a bit of slack, shall we? I tell you what, Ray, let's see if we can get you. Twilight's got a little bit twitchy. Let's see if we can. Should we see if we can relax you a little bit, Ray? I've got a question for you. Right, you ready? You ready to answer this? As Demon R is putting some pressure on Fluffy. What would you rather do? Eat 100 bricks or a Matter Baby?
A what baby?
A Matter Baby.
What the hell's a Matter Baby?
Nothing, sweet cheeks.
Yeah, fun.
Okay, Demon R coming under pressure from Fluffy Planet now.
Free wide. Going to make it through. Oh.
You got your rival to thank for that one, by the way, mate.
Yeah. Rich?
Yep, Rich came up with that one. It was for James, but he's not here.
Somebody off in the background there. Don't know who it is.
I
And that's
No, I wasn't looking at it. Demonar battling with Gary though. Demonar having to recover now after a bit of a shocking start. I mean, he doesn't get errors that often, but he's made a few. Oh, I think Bunsell just went to turn across the front of someone there and ended up sliding off into the barrier. You could be absolutely right, yeah. But I've got to say at the moment, Ray, Mitch, definitely a surprise since he joined DGT League, but he's taken pole position here and is pulling away from SGP and Steve F1. But Steve F1 all over the back of SGP, could that suggest that SGP is perhaps looking after a little bit of fuel?
Could be, or he's looking after his tyres for a wee bit. I don't know. Or because they're so close together, are they slowing each other down instead of trying to catch up?
It's a good point. I just want to mention as well, we are at the location of the Dancing Flowers, and if you've no idea what I'm on about, let's see if you can spot it throughout the course of the race. Steve F1 though, he is definitely on a bit of a charge at the moment. I mean, it's been an interesting championship so far in that David Harp has won a race, Steve F1 has won a race, SGP, has Steve F1 won a race? I can't remember. No,
I can't remember.
We're only in the third race. Sorry.
Yeah.
David Harper's won a race and SGP has won a race. Steve F1 hasn't run a race. I can't even speak. Won a race. I sound like Jonathan Wass.
Was that Tyler trying to put Dave the Harp under pressure? Who have we got here? Demonar and Mandalorian.
Yeah, going at it through the long right-hander.
Oh, he's went for the switchback. Is he going to be able to do it?
I don't know.
He's going to have the right line for the hairpin.
It's a tricky line though, Ray, because it's one thing I noticed taking a bit of a walk down there. I slipped over. It's a little bit dirty on the inside there. No comments.
Still side by side. This is great.
You're right, and you know what, Gary is following it. I hope Gary doesn't get too eager to follow in. You know what, he hasn't, he's backed out of it. Demonar has managed to get ahead, so Mandalorian has to give up that position. Gary didn't put his car somewhere it didn't belong, which is good, but he's now going for the pit lane. That's it's a bit early, really, 5 minutes.
4 laps.
But you know what? I think a few people have followed him in because Demonar is not on the timing tab, so I think Demonar has gone for the pit lane as well. So has Fluffy Planet, as Steve F1 now pressuring SGP into turn 3. For anyone that hasn't driven around this circuit, it is a brilliant racetrack. It is very tricky though. You touch your curb, you're spinning. You touch the grass, you're spinning. Anything other than that, and you're just simply lucky.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for these. I can see the flowers, but I don't know what they're called.
The Dancing Flowers. When you see it, you'll be like, oh my god.
I can see them jumping about.
Yeah, bopping up and down. I don't know what they're serving in the water around here, but obviously the flowers like it. Interestingly, I just want to mention regarding strategy at this race, the tyres take a bit of a pounding here as Steve F1 got a decent run on the back of SGP now but can't make the move. So I don't think Steve F1 is attacking too aggressively. He's just kind of trying to get an SGP to hurry up a little bit. But yeah, with the fuel loads that the drivers start off with, you can kind of get to about 10 minutes if you want to, but a full tank isn't going to quite do you 20 minutes unless you do a lot of fuel saving. So strategy is very tricky around here. So it'll be interesting to see what these front three do as Steve F1 does dive into the pit. So he's got 13% of fuel left. So he could have done another lap, but that would have been about it. So he's not been fuel saving. But we have had a few people already into the pits. Mandalorian also gone into the pits. Yep, you're right there, Ray. But he was fighting with Demonar. But where is he now? So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they come out of the pits. David Harp coming round. Turn 1 is inside. Steve F1.
That was close.
It was. A Fluffy Planet is there as well. And was that Mandalorian or was that Demonar? I think that was, yeah, it's Demonar. So Steve F1, yeah, Steve F1 has managed to come out ahead of Demonar, but he's coming under pressure from Fluffy Planet, who pitted before him. Fluffy got a little bit sideways there. Oh, SGP. Okay, so is SGP closing in on Mitch now? I'm not sure. I mean, Mitch is in a pretty difficult situation at the moment where... SGP's binned it!
He's binned it?
He's binned it badly.
I expect that for him.
Fluffy got on the grass as well.
Well, he's on the grass, Jesus. Especially when you're in a group of people, that could be.
It could definitely be disastrous. You know, it could be so bad, but it just goes to show that.
There's Mandy behind you. There's Mandy.
No, he's up the inside of Steve
side.
F1. Oh, 3 wide doesn't work. That Steve F1's into the barrier. Ew, it's all getting a little bit physical. You know, it's a difficult one to call that, you know, Ray.
Yeah, 3 wide. Don't really want to go 3 wide into any corner, but
I've got to admit, I think that.
here we go 3 wide again.
Well, we've seen Demon R and Mandalorian go side by side through this section before, with Gary right behind him before, and they're going to do it again. But this time, Mandalorian, no, Demon R's going for the move. Oh, dummy in the move. Mandalorian goes defensive. That's going to compromise his exit, but Demon R's been compromised, and Gary's sideways into the barrier. Oh, disaster for Gary. Oh, Mandalorian slowing down. Has he got a problem?
Is he realising that he could have been at fault and was letting Steve F1 through?
You know, I think you might be absolutely right there. And I was going to say as well, Ray, in that long right banked, I'm going to say that corner wrong. Try saying long right banked too many times, it's going to come out wrong. Yeah, but in that corner, if you've got 2 cars side by side in front of you, or Jason and Mandalorian side by side, and now Jason's been hit by Jimmy. I don't think Jimmy had anywhere he could go. I will get my point out in a moment. No, not a euphemism. Yeah, in that long right-hander, if you've got 2 cars side by side in front of you, making it 3 wide is probably not going to work. I've got to say though, Mitch absolutely bossing this one at the moment. Is nearly 10 minutes into this stint, so that's got to mean he's got to be close on running out of fuel. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be heading into the pit lane any moment now. And what we've got, Rich Blue sitting in 3rd place.
Wow.
Bloody hell, Ray!
Wow. Yeah, well.
Yeah. I don't think
Jesus.
he's pitted yet, but that's not the point. To get 10 minutes into the stint and be in 3rd place, good situation. David Harp's in a good position. Mitch is into the pits.
So is he going to change his tyres as well? That's another question as well. We'll soon see.
It's an interesting one. I mean, it costs an extra 6 seconds in the pit stops, but around this track, I do think having fresher tyres is worth costing those extra 6 seconds. Because you can do 10 minutes on these tyres, you can do about 15 minutes on these tyres, going any longer than 15, and suddenly they go about 2 to 3 seconds a lap slower.
SGP got out in front of him.
Oh, he's out in front of the... Hang on, he's out in front of Mitch. What the hell?
Yep, he got out in front of him. He must have not changed his tyres or something.
Or
put less fuel on it.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be less fuel. If Mitch has filled the tank... Oh, Mandalorian and Tyler! By the way, Mandalorian is on the spy cam today, so if you do want to see what's been going on with Mandalorian, have a look in the bottom right corner. And if you're going to fall for it again, double click on the image to see what happens.
Yeah, it should enlarge it.
But yeah, it is a good... It is. Oh, Steve F1's lost it on the curb. This is what I was on about. When you touch the curbs, it'll catch the best of them.
That was close.
It definitely was. It's put him right behind Mandalorian though, and just ahead of Tyler, 2 pretty quick drivers. And who's that there as well? That's Gary. I think that, yeah, it is Gary. Having a look at the inside of Tyler, he's got that move done just about. If he can stay on the road, he does just about. Trying to follow Steve F1 through, but here comes Tyler fighting back, and in the background Jason nearly clipped the grass. Oh, side by side, Gary's on the dirty bit. It's slippy there.
Tyler just wiggled a wee bit when he hit the curb.
Yeah, Jason though, with a lovely sneaky move past Bunsell there, slotting through, trying to have a look around the outside of Tyler, but you do not want to get on that exit curb. Oh, Mandalorian having a look at trying to make a move on at Twilight, side by side into the final chicane, and they just about give each other room. Twilight holds on to the position. That's brilliant driving, but here comes Steve F1. Mandalorian's all out of shape though. Blue flags for someone. Blue flag, blue flag, blue flag. If you don't know that song, Ray, it's Sebastian Vettel sang it.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
Hey, you say that. Have you heard what people call a nun in a wheelchair? Virgin Mobile.
Where did you get these from? Steve F1 front line. Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Back to commentary.
that's my last. That's my last
Fluffy.
one. That's
Dave the Harpy's looking to make a move on Mitch. He's getting there.
Well, interestingly, right, SGP must have short fueled, right, which would mean he's going to have to pit before Mitch does. But what it has meant is that Mitch is now under pressure, as you said, from Dave the Harp, who there's a good chance has either A, filled up the tank and is going to go long, or B, has short fueled. Who's that? Is that Gary into the barrier? I think it was. It's so easily done there. As Mandalorian trying to pull away from Steve F1, who's coming under pressure, still from Tyler. We've got some interest. Go on.
Did Magda? Oh, yeah, it's okay, no worries. I apologise, I was thinking something. That's okay.
That's alright. Okay, so let's see. So we've got SGP leading the race now, but he's obviously on a multi-stop strategy if he's short fueled. Mitch sitting in second place. He's heavy on fuel, but he's being chased by Dave the Harp, Fluffy Planet, who's having a brilliant race at the moment, and Demon R. So this is good battle here, and this is effectively a battle for the win because Mitch was leading. Then we've got Twilight being followed by Mandalorian. Oh, Jason, he's in the barrier. Yeah. Ooh. I think Bunch all dancing flowers. See, if no one's spotted the dancing flowers around here before, once you've spotted it, you can't not see it. But yeah, interestingly, these three, Dave, Fluffy, and Demon R, they are in a fight for the lead of the race because Mitch was the leader. Fluffy is having a look at Dave the Harp. This is where in previous seasons would have seen Fluffy chucking up the inside, but he's thinking better of it. Dave wasn't phased, so but he's run wide now as Fluffy. Is he going to keep it straight? Just. And Steve F1's wide as well. Oh my goodness me. Tyler slips through. Steve F1's having a bit of a mare here, if I'm honest.
Yep, and who's that? Is that Gary coming on the inside of Steve F1 as well?
It is Gary wearing his Geordie jumpers. Steve F1 slipping back through the inside as we have a look now. Dave Harp coming under pressure from Demon R. See now, Dave the Harp having Fluffy behind him may have certain concerns. Dave the Harp having Demon R behind him, those concerns are going to be slightly different. Dave the Harp went a little bit deep there, but he's may be able to recover it through the corner. But Demon R's got a better run up the hill as Dave the Harp goes a little bit wide, and that'll be position number 3 for Demon R. Will it? No, Dave the Harp still biting, fighting.
He's giving Demon R his money's worth here.
That he is, and rightly so. David Harp is fighting it hard, but yeah, he's still holding on to the position, but he does know, does David Harp, the tight line, the inside line around turn 1 is a nasty one, because if you get too much curve, you'll go wide and sideways, but they're going to go for a side-by-side drag race towards turn 2.
Yep. Who's going to come out the better one?
Well, I think into 2, David Harp, out of 2 and into 3, Demon R, yeah, the inside line. It can be quicker in but slower out, so if Dave can get a decent exit here, he may be able to have an attack back, but what these two have got to be careful of is, Fluffy Planet is still there, and catching them is that battle of Twilight, Tyler, Steve F1 and so on.
Yeah, maybe not want to fight as much and just follow each other for a wee bit, try and get that gap going.
Yeah, definitely. Now I'm thinking for those people that pitted after about 5 minutes, if they filled the tank, they could probably get to about 20 minutes. If they didn't fill the tank, then they could be pitting any time now. So be aware, we may be in a pit stop window as Gary seems to have been right on the rear end of Steve F1 for a lot of this race. I mean, it's not a bad place to be. Steve's a decent driver apart from today where he's having an absolute shocker.
So you're saying Gary's shocking?
No. Gary's actually overtaken the current champion, is what I'm saying. Steve F1 is having a bit of a mare. And yeah, Gary, if he's trying to learn anything, maybe learning bad habits at the moment. I thought I was going to go 3 wide. Gary, I mean, this is good though. Bonzo! I think he may have got on the curb. He saved it. I think he may have got on the curb as he was on the brakes though, and that's what pitched him sideways. Fluffy Planet, Dave the Harp into the pit.
He's still there. Has Bunsell jumped him? No.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, Bunsell has got ahead of Jason and Steve F1. How on earth? And Tyler has just passed Twilight as well. Well, mate, everything's switching about there. I'm wondering whether Steve F1 may have tagged the back of Gary and it's slowed him down a little bit. Either way, we've still got a mass battle going on. With David Harp and Fluffy having pitted, I think David Harp had a bit more fuel in than Fluffy, so Fluffy was definitely fuel limited. We've got a yellow flag Mandalorian, and what's Demon R doing being passed by Mandalorian? Hang on, where's he come from? David Harp, hey?
Oh, slow cars. Must have been a collision ahead.
I'm wondering if Demon R was pitted as well. Yeah, you know what, Demon R must have pitted. He's down in 9th place, so after having pitted, he's come out of the pits near Mandalorian, who had pitted before, but now Mandalorian got a little bit on the curb.
Yeah, you need to be careful. He's got Dave the Harp behind him as well, who's bringing, is that Fluffy?
It is, yeah, David Harp and Fluffy. I mean, David Harp and Fluffy have been finding themselves on track near each other a lot over the last couple of championships. But interestingly, David Harp and Mandalorian have been having a few accidents with each other recently. Hopefully they've been buying plenty of loo roll. Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's a bit of a magnet between the two of them at the moment. Okay, looking at SGP now, we know that he's short-fueled, or we believe he's short-fueled, but he's not heading into the pits yet. But at the moment, he's got a massive lead over Mitch, and even though there is a bit of boost on in these races, having low fuel rate compared to having high fuel can make a big difference, can't it?
Yep. Because your car's less heavier, so you can accelerate quicker.
Exactly.
It's not going to swish about in the tank as bad as a full heavy load.
I suppose one analogy would be a full can of beer is heavier than half a can of beer.
Yeah.
And a full can of beer doesn't disappear as quickly.
I never used that.
A full can of beer doesn't fucking disappear as quick as a half can of beer. Steve has bad accent there.
Steve F1 looking at Twilight, is it going down the inside? It's going to have the exit.
It's a nice move.
Or just keeps it.
Yeah, well, nice move from Steve F1 there. Twilight driving beautifully.
Dave the Heart, Mandy,
who's that as well? Is that Fluffy? Yeah.
Fluffy?
And Bunsell. We saw Bunsell having a decent race a couple of races ago. Oh no, I think Bunsell's lost it on the grass, and I think he's taken Fluffy into the barrier. Oh, you know what? I think Fluffy just about got away with that. I mean, okay, it's cost him a bit of time, and Bunsell's tyres are cooked, but that could have been ever so more disastrous for Fluffy.
Oh yeah, I could have been spun round, and then when you go the right way, you spin round again.
Exactly. Right, SGP, what's he going to do? He pitted after 10 minutes. He's going into the pits. How much fuel has he got? Okay, yeah, he definitely short-fueled. Mitch, what is he? Mitch is going into the pits, but he's got 50, but he's got half a tank already.
So did he not change his tyres then?
Ooh, well, you know what? I'm thinking as Mandalorian into the pits, but a lot of people into the pits. Okay, I think I know what was going on there, and we'll get onto it in a moment as SGP comes out of the pits next to Demon Arm. I think I can give a bit of an insight as to what Mitch may be doing there. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see what's going to happen here. Dave the Harper's pitted not too long ago. SGP, if he's short-filled again, he needs to get ahead of the Demon Arm, and he's going for the move up the inside, but he's got on the curb. He's got on the curb, he's sideways, and now he's got to be careful. He's just lost 3 positions. Well, 2 positions. That could have been, I've mentioned it a few times. You get wide around here, it's going to hurt you.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's going to hurt you big time.
That it is. Mitch pitted and had half a tank of fuel. You could ask, well, where's the point of that? Well, one might be, if he's filled the tank up again but put a fresh set of tyres on, he could do another 10-minute stint and then do another 10-minute stint, and then when he comes into the pits he won't need to put fuel in because he's already got the fuel. He'll just need tyres. So he could be carrying the extra fuel now to have a much faster pit stop later on. Ooh, Fluffy.
Sounds quite a good plan. Never tried it though.
No, there's no point carrying half a pint of beer around for no reason, is there?
Nah, that'd be gone.
Tyler leading the race now. Well, maybe not for long, because he's heading into the pits. Yeah, Jason, he's going to lead the race, and that is just ahead of Demon R and Dave the Harp, Fluffy Planet, SGP. So SGP is still ahead of Mitch, just even after his sort of half spin. But it does mean that we are. Ooh, SGP a little bit wide there. He's pushing hard. Fluffy pressuring Dave the Harp as well. These two have been really going at it through the course of this race. Ooh, is Fluffy can have a look up the inside. Dave the Harp covers it off. There's a nice bit of driving from the pair of them, but that's allowed SGP to close that gap in. I think SGP's still got a decent gap over Mitch at the moment, though, so he's still fairly safe. But he has got 3 cars in front of him that are viably fighting for the lead of the race.
Yep. Yeah, Mitch looks like a big 5-second gap or something in the mini map up there. But yeah.
You know what, Ray? You'd be about right. I just counted it. It's about 5 seconds. SGP's gone wide again. Oh!
He's pushing, but he's going to end up losing it.
He is. Fluffy. Oh, he's got a decent run around Dave the Harp here as they go side by side, coming out to the long right. I can't say it. Long right hand bank.
Long right banked corner.
That's the one. Dave the Harp's gone deep at the hairpin though, and that's allowed Fluffy to get up alongside around the outside, and the outside can be a decent line there as long as you don't run wide, and Dave the Harp has to sacrifice that position. You're going to have to be careful now of SGP closing in on him. Demon R closing in on Jason, but I think he may have another pit stop to do. To be fair, I think everyone's going to have at least another 1 pit stop to do, and yeah, Jason peels off into the pits. He's pretty much out of fuel, so he could pit. SGP's into the pits again. Ooh.
That's interesting what you're doing now.
I know what that...
34?
Yeah. Go on. Yeah, I think you've just twigged at what you might be doing.
So he must be filling up to the end of the race and then...
Exactly.
Don't know if he's going to change tyres.
He might.
What, 15 minutes?
15 minutes he'd probably need a set of tyres, especially considering he's just had a couple of offs, hasn't he? Or some big moments. But yeah, he could be pitting now to fill the tank and try and get an undercut on everybody. Steve F1 pressuring Mandalorian.
Yeah. I think he'd be wanting to use a boost to help. Oh, Mandy going wide. I don't know if there was contact there. Don't see it.
No, I didn't see it either. So SGP is not in the top 8 at the moment, but I believe just about everybody from 1st to at least 9th has got to pit again. Or who's that? Who's that? Rich and Gary? No, it's Rich and Mitch. No, it's Rich and Twilight that we're getting a little bit physical through those corners. And here now comes Mitch and Tyler. Is it? No, it's Jimmy on the back of Rich. So let's see what can Rich do. So Mitch has found himself, I mean, Mitch being down in 8th, I'm wondering if something must have happened to him for him to be this far down at the moment, unless he too has pitted again. Ooh, Bunsell was a bit sideways there, but I think Rich saw him coming.
Yeah, there's SGP in the background there as well.
Yeah, so he's what, about 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that at the moment. Fluffy Planet's heading into the pits for what could be his final pit stop. But having said that, he's been doing about 10-minute stints. Will he get 15 out of his last stint? He could if he fills up and puts tyres on. Steve F1. I can't remember when I saw him pit last, but yeah, there is SGP sitting in 10th place, all behind Bunsell, who's just tagged the back of Rich. That'll compromise the both of them, but it might help SGP. And Jason, who we just saw pit, is right behind SGP as well. So if SGP is in a fight for the win, so is Jason.
Yeah. And it depends on who follows SGP around. They could be in there as well. Rich trying to keep him at bay, but it's not happening.
Yeah, interestingly, if Mitch hasn't pitted again, he's going to feel a little bit of pain when he looks in his mirrors and sees SGP behind him. If Mitch has pitted, then it's not too bad. It's getting a little bit feisty behind SGP though, with Jason, Bunsell and Rich. As this is fascinating though. There's what, 8-9 cars? Maybe that's about 10 cars all within close proximity. This is great stuff. SGP.
Great racing, side by side of it and everything.
Oh, SGP's trying to close in on Mitch, but Mitch is closing in on Twilight as Jason closing in on SGP as well. Twilight goes defensive, Mitch goes defensive. SGP says thank you very much, I'll go around the outside, because he's gone around the outside. Jason's gone thank you very much, I'll go around the inside, and then they all just slide single file. Boring.
It's like F1, isn't it?
Hang on, no, I'd have to put a blank screen up for that. Oh, SGP chucking up the inside of Mitch as Demon R's into the pits, and he's got 48% of fuel left. SGP's into the barrier. I think it may have been a little bit of a risky late move on that one. I can't fully comment, but Demon R has pitted, and you know what? I think he may have been doing a similar thing to SGP, or no, Tyler, sorry. No, not Tyler, Mitch. Bloody hell, I'm turning into James. Yeah, well, I think he was carrying extra fuel to have a faster stop now. He's come out of the pits right behind Twilight, in front of Mitch and in front of SGP, so SGP's undercut has not worked. Oh, as Demon R slips up the inside of Twilight, little bit of contact between the mirrors, but Demon R is through.
Yep, and who else is trying to look to come through here?
It's Mitch, yeah, Mitch is trying to follow through. I think, yeah, Mitch has got the move done. I think Mitch has realised what position situation he's in now, with the likes of Demon R just in front of him and SGP.
Twilight's coming back.
Oh, go on, son.
Oh, that was close right in the barrier, you know. Now, is that Juice?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, getting in the battle there.
I think, you know what?
Oh, this is great.
It is, you know, I think Twilight realised he wasn't on the right line to go around the outside there, and he backed out of it. But what it has meant is now side by side with SGP. Oh, big crash in the background. I think that was Bunsell and Gary coming together. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so SGP trying up the inside into the hairpin. It can be done, but it is slippy as Twilight's trying to go around all the way around the outside. And I'm looking in the background as well.
Whoa, pretty wide. They're pushing it. I think it was Dave the Harp that hit the barrier.
Oh, it might have been. Demon R trying to put a bit of pressure on Tyler, who's sitting in second place, and somehow Steve F1 has found himself in first place. I really have no idea how he's done that, considering the race he's been having so far. But Tyler is continuing on, and so is Demon R, and there is Steve F1 in the distance. Demon R not chucking up the inside into turn one. Mitch coming under a little bit of pressure from Jason, and SGP not too far behind either. A little wiggly out of turn one.
Steve F1 pitted.
I think he must have pitted somewhere around about the 20-minute mark. I don't think he's done a one-stop. Demon R going up the inside of Tyler. This for second place, and Tyler not fighting it too hard. I think Tyler's got much older tyres on at the moment. I think Steve F1 pitted early-ish, and then pitted again around 20 minutes, and he's either going to pit again or he's fueled to the end. Either way, bloody hell, Fluffy and Dave the R, will you do something? Will you two get a room? Old Dave making a nice move, but that's going to compromise Fluffy, and here comes Mandalorian up the inside.
I don't know about the drivers, but I might need a pair of pants after that race.
You're not wrong. I might as well. So SGP is pressuring Jason into the banked corner. Lovely bit of driving from the pair. Oh no, Jason's gone wide. I think that, I don't know if that was from a tab. Oh, nothing Jason could do there into the line of fire. I think, who did he collect there? It may have been Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp may have just about survived it, so what could have been absolute massive carnage may have just been a little bit of messiness. The thing is though, you end up running a little bit wide there, hitting the barrier. There's bugger all you can do other than go where the car is taking you, and sometimes it's into the line of other people. Oh dear, oh dear.
I think it was Fluffy or Rich he got it there.
Yeah, you could be right. Oh, Twilight heading into the pits, and I think that'll be for a new set of underpants and new tyres. Steve F1 then leading the race. Demon R is about 4 seconds behind him at the moment. Then we've got Tyler, Mitch, SGP and Mandalorian. No, it's David Harper Mandalorian battling side by side. SGP is ahead of these guys, and Rich Blues in 8th place. So if he was tagged, he's survived quite nicely. Mandalorian making the move on David Harper, and Rich Blues slotting up closely to them as well.
Yeah, it was Fluffy, I think it was.
You know what, you could be right. You could be right.
Because he's way back. He was beside Dave the Harp.
True. Well, you know, Fluffy doesn't have any luck. I do know in the practice sessions, any time anyone hit the barrier in front of him, they never ghosted and he got sent to the morgue. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Who needs coronavirus when you've got racing? So, just having a look at what the situation is. With 7.5 minutes to go, Steve F1 leading the race. I really don't know how he's managed to do that unless it's simply down to strategy. These guys being in a battle is compromising their lap times, but it's great for us to watch. As that
Jason tagged the back up.
Yeah, you know
he's waiting.
Yeah, he is. The thing is, it's so easy to do into that corner. Bit of slipstream, half a metre too late, and you, like I said, it's slippy out there. But yeah, Jason is waiting for Dave the Harp. So as frustrating as that'll be for Dave the Harp, Jason is aware that he has made a bit of a boo-boo there. So Steve F1 still leading. Demon R trying to close in that gap. Tyler sitting in third place. That's a brilliant race for situation for him at the moment. Mitch up to fourth, but he's got SGP now hunting him. But fascinatingly, Ray, throughout the course of this race, we saw that Mitch was leading the race comfortably, then SGP was leading the race comfortably. At no point did we see the likes of Steve F1 or Demon R ending up leading this race, but that's the situation we've got.
Yeah, it could be the timing of the pits and gaining the advantage with the settings we have with the boost.
That it could be. You know what I am hearing from my assistant actually? Oh, Tyler! Now, I want to mention about that in a moment, right? Because Mitch is pressuring. I want to mention about how the likes of Tyler and a few drivers have been able to survive running wide. But I have heard from my assistant that SGP had a problem, not in his last pit stop, in the pit stop before, where they were filling up his tank, and then accidentally a mechanic has hit the button to turn off the fuel, and they've sent him out of the pits with nowhere near enough fuel, as Mitch is trying to pressure Tyler, but SGP is going to slot up the inside of Mitch. So SGP has actually ended up doing an additional pit stop because some muppet didn't put enough fuel in.
He needs to sack them, you know.
He does. He definitely does. He's got on his rear wing, so here we go then. But he really needs to teach his team that. Oh, he's just run a little bit wide, and Mitch trying to get in there as well.
Yeah, just a slight tap. I'm always curious about that wall on the right hand side of the thing, because it used to be. I don't know if it's still there. The marshals never set it right. There's just a wee kink. If you catch it, you are stopping.
Yeah, I think they may have filed it down a little bit, but you can still you can hit that wall and spin quite easily, as SGP is making the move now on Mitch. I don't think Mitch is going to be able to do anything about that. Can SGP now close in on Tyler? And I said I wanted to mention about how some people have managed to run wide a little bit and not spin. It simply comes down to this: they've had the practice, they've ran wide, they've spun lots. So they've then learned, okay, if I'm over there, what do I have to do to not spin, as we're 5 wide into Twilight, just about surviving that in front of Dave the Harp, and then Bunsell, Jason and Gary, I think it is, yes it is, and Jimmy there as well. This is fascinating stuff. It's fascinating, but it could end so badly.
Yeah.
Into the long right-hander. Dave the Harp taking the high road, comes down low. Oh, Jason, I think he was up the inside of Twilight there. A little bit of contact between the two of them, but they're still all facing the right direction. Didn't have a brilliant view of what happened there. Bunsel's coming in hot.
So's Gary.
Yeah,
Is that Gary?
It was Gary. I think Bunsell may have tagged Gary there. I'm not sure. I saw Bunsell definitely going in a bit hot. It's not always easy to see exactly what happened. I asked whether SGP can catch up to Tyler. He's catching up to Tyler. So Tyler may be a little bit of a sitting duck, as we are getting close to 5 minutes 20 seconds left of the race here.
Yeah, I can't believe you told me about the flowers now. That's all I see. It's as if they're saying, go, 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 go.
Yeah. The cheering, look. They're not dancing now. Bloody hell, miserable things. Okay, here we go then. SGP making the move. He's going to go. Oh, you know what? Tyler has been attacked in this corner a few times, but SGP tried to go around the outside. Didn't quite work. He's now had to go for a bit of a switchback look and another switchback look. He's going to end up on the outside, but to be fair, the outside into this right-hander is not a bad place to be, because you compromise the other person's position and then compromise their exit. You see plenty of marbles on the side of the circuit there, as Mitch is trying to close in again on the back back of SGP, and Mandalorian closing in on Mitch as well. So Mitch is going to have to be careful here, coming under a little bit of pressure. And in the distance, in the far ground, way up at the front, we can see that Steve F1 is being caught by Demon R as SGP is all over the back of Tyler.
Oh, you always get a fear with the camera angles. Is that a wee bit of contact there or that? But no, these guys, well, most guys know how to do their driving.
That they do. Tyler is fighting this beautifully. Oh, Mandalorian! Oh, you see, like Mandalorian's not had a lot of practice, but he's had enough practice running over there that he knew what to do to not need medical assistance there. SGP's pushing hard. You can tell he is. He can realise the gap behind him is coming down. Oh, Mitch into the barrier. That's where you were on about, Ray, where before you hit that, it'd stop you.
Yeah. It was that Daft Marshall. Hamish.
Yeah, well, either they've sanded it down or Mitch's car has in the practice sessions. Either way, he's now got Mandalorian. So Mandalorian nearly requires medical attention. He's ended up in a situation where he may be able to gain the place. SGP attacking Tyler. He's going to try and round the outside again. No, he's not. He's going for the switchback.
Got the switchback. Is he going to get it?
He might. You know, I think Tyler's realised a few too many people have gone up the inside of him into that corner, and he's covering it off beautifully. But now SGP's going to try up the inside into the right-hander. Tyler tried to cover it off, but he was too late on that one. SGP slots through into third place, and now he needs to try and pull away from Tyler. He does not need to be getting involved in a battle with Mandalorian and Mitch, who are going a little bit side by side. This is brilliant stuff. I've got to say, this is brilliant stuff.
Oh yeah, it's great racing, side by side. A wee bit aggressive, but it's not over aggressively.
That's a nice bit of driving there. One taking the high road, one taking the low road. They're two very different lines. Mandalorian, oh, Mitch sneaking off the inside. It's a lovely sneaky overtake. Mandalorian saw it coming, and they're still side by side.
Yeah, that was a lovely move. That was nice to watch. I just went and see that point you get where the two take different lines and then they meet. I was just like, please do not connect.
Interestingly, SGP is managing to pull away. Oh my goodness me, he's managing to pull away from Tyler. Hang on, they're on the last lap. This is their last lap. Oh my goodness me, I hadn't realised. What on earth has happened there?
What happened to Mitch? Did he crash and lose fuel?
You know what? I think Mitch has hit the wall. I really didn't spot that we were that close to the end of the race. That I was too engrossed in watching the footage. Let's have a look at this then. So Steve F1, he's got one more lap to do this lap because he crossed the line before the 40 minutes. Demon R, he is also on that same lap. Can he catch Steve F1? I'm not sure. I think he's going a bit slow.
Yeah, I think it's...
No, he's doing normal speed by the looks of it there. Oh, hang on. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, that's not.
He needs to sack his bloody mechanic and all.
Yeah, I think you might be right. You know what? Looking at it, right, okay, so Steve F1 crossed the line before the 40 minutes were up. Demon R did. SGP just missed out by 2 seconds. So by the looks of it, Demon R is chosen to do an extra lap, knowing he'll run out of fuel, instead of waiting before the line to not do the extra lap because it would have been too close with SGP. So SGP's kind of lost out on the extra lap there, and he could have gained an extra position. Steve F1's going to go and win this race, wondering what the bloody hell has happened to everybody else. And while that was happening, Tyler managed to get through the final corners. Mitch seemed to hit the barrier, and maybe you see...
Did they have contact with Manda?
No,
I don't know.
No, I believe he hit the barrier. Steve F1 does win the race, and now, oh my god, someone tell him to speed up. He's
Mitch, better off getting out pushing it.
Not uphill, downhill maybe. So Mitch hit the barrier and unfortunately lost the car. Ended up much further down. Mandalorian snuck through, but at that point that was all happening, I saw in the background there was a monster battle going on with Fluffy, Dave, Jason coming into the final set of corners that I didn't really get to see what happened there. This is definitely a return of shame, this, I've got to say.
Yeah. I bet he's just sitting there shaking his head in the cockpit and going, even the crowd are shouting.
You know what though, Ray? He's going to have to be careful, because once the race leader has crossed the line, there is a time limit to when everybody needs to get to the line. I wonder if, you know what, I'm hearing that there's only about 8 seconds on that clock. Demon R's going to have to make sure that he can actually get to the line. Is he going to be classified? He might be happy that it's downhill on that bit.
Hey, Dad, Foils are saying, go on, you can do it.
Well, what a fantastic race with the most boring last lap from Demon R. Yeah, I don't even know what to say on that.
Yeah, but we're on a high, and then Demon R just
Ruined it. What I will say though is, I mean, it was a fascinating race to watch. I mean, so much so that we just didn't even see the clock, and that's when you know that you're watching a good battle. Got to say though, congratulations to Steve F1. He had an absolute shocker at the last race. And to be fair, he had an absolute shocker in the first half of this race, but somehow, through whatever wizardry, he's ended up in the lead and taking the win.
Yep. Congratulations, Steve F1.
You sound really happy for him.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Congratulations, Steve F1. Well done.
There you go. I will say as well, as always, or not as always, as part of the new feature, this championship, the drivers' post-race comments will be appearing and disappearing on the screen. And if they're not on the screen long enough for you to read it, press pause. You got a button, use it. But what I will say, I mean, okay, yeah, Steve F1 has done well to recover there, but God, I feel for Mitch. Pole position, leading the race. SGP's odd strategy puts Mitch into the pack, and then as the race goes on, the pressure just builds on Mitch. And I mean, to be fair, no one wants to be going into the last few laps with Mandalorian behind them. So yeah, I mean, and to hit the last corner, last lap, to hit the barrier and go from what, 4th to 10th, I think it was, 11th.
Yeah, I can't remember.
No. Disaster for him.
Yeah,
it is a shame. Well, I suppose now, Ray, would be a good time to explain why you weren't on the track on this race.
Why I wasn't on the track?
Yeah. Or should we just wait for your post-race comments?
I'll wait for my post-race comments.
Okay. What I will say is the next race though, right, well, there's a few interesting things that have happened in this championship so far. One is Demon R not won a race, but he has finished second in every race. SGP has won a race, Steve F1 has won a race, David Harper has won a race. Anybody could win the next race, which is at Spa, and that track, these cars could be phenomenal. But at the same time, Spa is a long track, and if you run out of fuel, then you've got a long way to go to get back to the pit. So strategy could definitely be key at that track, but it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yep, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it'll be nice to go and have a Spa day. Okay, right, Ray, thank you very much for joining me on commentary.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
No worries, and even the nun says thank you very much.
Yeah, I want my wheelchair back.
So many things I could say. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, okay, now it would be a good time to have a look at the confirmed race results and the championship standings. So, if you have survived the Star Destroyer, if you don't know what I'm on about, you might want to rewind a little bit. Anyway, confirmation of the race 3 result from Alsace Village. Steve F1 takes the victory in the maximum points. Demon R finishes in second place for the 3rd time in a row. SGP recovers well to finish 3rd, while Tyler finishes in 4th, ahead of Mandalorian in 5th. Fluffy Planet just ahead of Dave the Harp, that's 6th and 7th. Those two spent the whole race next to each other pretty much. Jason across the line in 8th place, taking 8 points, while Twilight was 9th, taking 7. Mitch, as we saw, an absolute disaster right at the end of the race for him, heartbreaking really. He finished 10th, and that's 6 points for him, just ahead of Rich Blues in 11th, who was just ahead of Jimmy and also ahead of Gary and Bunsell. And as I mentioned, Conrad did join us for the qualifying session but got disconnected during qualifying, and sadly once you get disconnected you cannot get back in. It's a bit of a frustration really that you can't get back in to the qualifying session or even to take part in the race, which is a massive shame. Also, SRI, as we've seen from the post-race comments, was tidy in his bedroom. So let's see what that result has done to the championship standings. So leading the way then, having not won a race yet, is Demon R on 51 points. He's 10 ahead of SGP in 2nd place, who is a couple of points ahead of Mandalorian in 3rd. Then we've got Dave the Harp and Steve F1 tied for 4th place on 37 points, and not too far behind them is Tyler on 33. Twilight in 7th place is on 25 points, a couple ahead of Jason, who is a couple ahead now of Mitch. Fluffy only 1 point behind Mitch, so not too bad going so far for him. Bunsell sitting in 11th place, just ahead of Rich Blues in 12th and Formula Gary in 13th. Groover on 7 points, wasn't able to race today, so he's down to 14th place, while SRI and Jimmy are now tied on 6 points, with Conrad sitting in 17th place on 2 points. As I mentioned, the next race is going to be from the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, and it could be an absolute cracker. It could also be absolute carnage. There's only one way to find out, and that is to come and check out the Dynamic GT League in about a week's time for the race video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon.